it's a continuation of the last week trading plan. Ha ha ha! Yeah! What up, YouTube? Um, Yo, man. What up, YouTube? What up, YouTube? If you was here, you was here, man. Type in "I was here" in the comment sections. You heard? So, just a second. Let me just I'm trying to open up stream on my desktop. You know how tedious my desktop could be. So, just a second. Um, Yo, what up, bro? Are you in the chat? There's a guy who hit me on board IG, and we've been talking some real shit for the past few days. So he just texted me back. So I'm wondering if he's in the chat. Let me just pull up chat real quickly, and then I'm gonna address what's gonna happen today. But y'all know, man. Y'all know what's happening. So on Sundays, well, rather on weekends, I just find time to kind of analyze what has been going on for the past few weeks. So this week, there's something very big that I noticed. I noticed two things, really, two things. I noticed two very critical things, and I think I'm going to use this time to kind of confirm my hypotheses with what I just saw, right? So, as a clarification, guys, I have been trading, analyzing this way, the way I do, for it's been a year. I think it's been a year, bro. It's been like ever since I got back to trading, which was last year sometime. I've been trading this specific way only, right? Some things I've been learning along the way. Some things referring specifically to the gold volume strategy. That's the one thing that I kind of learned quite recently. I think, when did I learn the gold volume strategy? I think it was like 3 or 6 months ago. Between the two, I'm not quite certain. I think it must have been like six, because there was a December where things were really just going well, right? And back then I was trading US 30. So I took a bit of a break from US 30, because um what I'm realizing now is that I think the gold volume strategy, the foundation of it was really, really, really focused on XAU USD. So that's why I've been giving almost all of my attention to XAU USD, right? And I really can't lie. This is the third week of me focusing solely on XAU USD, and I can't lie, I feel like I'm seeing so much progress, bro. Okay, you see, this is why I had to pull up chat, because why is my monitor so small? Let me try to fix this real quickly. Let me try to fix this, because my screen share shouldn't be so small. How are you guys gonna see what I'm seeing? Let me try to change. Let me try to switch screens. Let's do that. Maybe this will work. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, wait. Just give me a second, because this screen is too small. How are you guys gonna see what I'm seeing? It shouldn't be doing what it's doing right now. It shouldn't be doing what it's doing right now. Okay, I hope it's still doing this. Okay. Stream settings, video settings, stream indicator, stream output. Yo, see, man, this is why I don't like streaming on my phone, bro. I really don't want to, like, I'm not a fan of streaming on my phone because of this exact. Okay, I think we should be back. 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 Yo, I'm sorry about that. Just a bunch of technical difficulties with Streamlabs. Okay, I think this is a whole lot better. Yes, this is a whole lot better. Okay, now let's go back to our trading view. Let's go back to our trading view. Okay, yeah, that's a lot better, right? That's a lot better. So guys, once again, right, don't forget to join the Reddit, cause on my Reddit details, the link to my Reddit is on the YouTube channel. On the bio, just check, there is a direct link that's leading you to the Reddit. That's where I post all these details that I'm jotting down right here, right? So everything that I'm noting down right here, these are all the trades. These are every single trade that I've ever analyzed is directly linked to a video of its own, right? For example, this is a trade we took Friday. It has its own video, and this is also another trade. This we took this on Thursday. It also has its own video. So all of those trades that have been analyzed, I summarize and I journal them right here, and that's my trading plan, right? So it's not really a trading plan, it's more like a trading journal. But just because of the title of YouTube, it's a bit more friendlier to just name it as trading plan, right? So okay, one thing we're gonna be doing today. First thing we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be journaling the past week's trades, right? And then we're just gonna be going through them, elaborating what has been happening this past week. Then after journaling, or maybe not after, but during the process, then I'll share what I've learned and also how me journaling has really helped me a lot. The one thing I will say, the one thing I will say off the bat, I have noticed that has really helped me about journaling, about using a trading journal. I noticed one very big thing. Let me try to show you. I'm gonna try to show you guys. I'm going to try to show you. Right? Last week, from the 28th, from the 28th until from the 28th until 28th, okay, from the 28th until the 2nd of May, I noticed something. In fact, for most of like all of my trades, most of those trades have been going correctly, right? The only problem is that they tend to hit my stop loss. And then after they hit my stop loss, they go into the direction I have predicted, right? So I realized two things with that. With the fact that sometimes it does go into my direction, sometimes it just hits my stop loss and then goes to my direction. So with that, I noticed two things. I noticed when trade hits my stop loss, that should be my entry for revenge trading, right? That's how I am going to control revenge trading. So what I noticed is so powerful about taking control of being able to know when you're going to enter another trade is really going to help me a lot, from knowing that, okay, if I mess up now, I know what to do next. And if that doesn't work, I know, okay, let me just close. Today's not going to work out. That's it. Let's just leave it. Because also another thing I did notice this past week that we came from, there was a whole lot of momentum around my time frame that I trade around. So every day, you guys know, every day I just trade around 4:30, right? That's the only time I trade. Only place analysis, or only analyze around 4:30. That's the only thing I do. I only analyze around 4:30. Then from there, you obviously don't just like close your book. You freaking analyze. You take time, you sit down, you see what the market is doing. You learn from, if something is going wrong, you learn from that. If something is going right, you also learn from that. So yesterday I learned something very big yesterday. I don't know if we should start with yesterday's trade or we go to Monday, because yesterday's trade is really looking good. Let's just go to Monday, bro. Let's go to Monday, because Monday's trade didn't really work out. And then this was Wednesday. I didn't analyze. or anything of the nature. You see, this is another thing I was talking about, the stop loss thing. It went to my stop loss and then it went to direction. Here, I'll explain. This was Tuesday. That was Tuesday's trade. And then this is Monday's trade, right? Okay, cool. Monday's trade. So, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna be journaling this thing. Let me check what you guys are saying. Let me open up chat for a second. Okay, nothing much on my chat. That's all good. Nothing much on the chats. That's all good. Okay, no worries. So, we're gonna be journaling. This was Monday, right? Let's do this. This was Monday the 12th. So I'm gonna say Monday the 12th of May 2025. And then remember how I generally trade. I just use one position. Well, right now, that's what I'm doing. One position of 0.08 on a XAUUSD micro, right? That's what we use. One position of a 0.8, right? That's the amount of risk that we take, and that equals to 8 points when you invest 100 Rand, right? So I'm not really sure how much 100 Rand is. I think it's like 5 USD or less probably. I'm not quite certain. So that's what I use. So the first point I have in the first column I have in my trading journal is the date. The second is the position and lot size. So now I'm gonna write down the lot size. It's one position of a 0.8 that's worth 100 Rand, right? 100 Rand. That's how much every single time. That's my standard amount of risk is 100 Rand or 8 points from the chart, right? So the market is XAU USD, right? And then the instrument. So there's a column here for the instrument. When I say instrument, it means what was my reason for entering the trade, right? According, like, from the things that I've learned, the first thing on my journey learning through D operandi strategy. Hey guys, I'm sorry about that. Yo, I don't even know what to say happened, bro. I don't know. The devil just works overtime, bro. You know, I've been chilling the whole day today. Not really doing what I was. Know that prosperous or anything else up. So I'm trying to boot up my desktop again because my desktop is working on life support, as you guys would know. Now I'm trying to go back to Monday's trade. From the indicator is on the 5-minute or the 1-minute confirmation of the AC indicator. Okay, this is a bit further back. Yeah, this gap was also another reason why I thought market is gonna go up on Friday. It was one of the, it wasn't really the reason, but it was one of the reasons. Okay, let me just put this here for now. Matter of fact, you know what, let me write down, let me journal these things on my notebook, and then okay, but wait, that won't help me because the format of the trading plan is on my desktop. So I need to have the format of my trading plan so I know what to make notes of. So for now, let's do this while I wait for my desktop to boot. For now, let me kind of break down what was happening Monday, what I learned from Monday, what we take away from Monday, and how we can move forward from Monday, right? Okay. So from the strategy of the MMC footprint, usually with the MMC footprint we have two lines, right? We have the footprint and we have the first layer. So this one didn't even give like us time to get a first layer. It was just went straight to the footprint. So this one was more of a footprint instrument that I used to find an entry here. So there's kind of three things. Four. First is the MMC, and then I have the first strategy, the second strategy, and the third strategy. All these strategies, I am going to make a video within the next coming week explaining them individually, but they're more or less the same. They're more or less the same. I think as time goes by and as we analyze, they'll become a whole lot clearer, right? So this first one was more of an MMC entry, and as you can see, this one didn't really work out. Now I'm trying to figure out why exactly didn't this one work out. When I saw this, right, I thought maybe it will give us a three. A three is the third strategy that I came up with. That's where usually when I have a bunch of indicators here and a bunch of indicators there, then I look for, wait, what was that? Yeah, no comment. Then I look for the next break, either above these indicators or below these indicators right here. So here I look to take this thing up. I looked to take this thing up following a confirmation that was there, right? I looked to take this thing up. I think I did that because there wasn't much indicators along this point, and I think, as you can see here, wait, hold on. I think I entered this buy here because there weren't much sell confirmations here, and here there were a whole lot of like this trend line has a bunch of AC indicators that are directly on this trend line. So this made me think, okay, this is a strong trend line, right? I also want to see something. Usually when the trend line is that deep, there's a bunch of momentum that's surrounding it, right? When the trend line is that steep, there's a bunch of momentum that should follow. But I'm not really, no. This was not a steep trend line. If it was like probably like that, that would have been a lot steeper, and that would have been a lot better to enter on. Okay, my desktop is open. My desktop is open. Okay, I'm just opening the spreadsheet, the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, cool. So the reason why I entered this was because of this trend line and the confirmation indicators on it. And here, as you can see, it didn't break that indicator. It just tested it. This should have been my indicator. This should have been my indicator that this trend line is not going to hold. It should have been my indicator, because if I had only gotten one indicator, here's something I'm also learning through this journey of like using the AC indicator. My journey of using the AC indicator, I am studying how to read these indicators. That's what's increasing my probability. I have learned through me using the AC indicator that there's no such thing as, okay, maybe there's no such thing as 100% certainty. I don't even, you see, once someone can come to you and tell you that I know for 100% certain that certain outcome is going to happen, such and such, question that person is what I am saying. Or rather, let me say, I don't know too much about that, but using the AC indicator, what I have learned, this is a strategy that increases probability through you studying and recognizing these patterns. So one thing that I've really learned that will help you increase probability is really taking note of how like the presence of each indicator. So for example, here, if there had only been one indicator, right, Obviously, these indicators, when I look for indicator, I look for indicator on the 5 minute and on the 1 minute. So if it's not on the 5 minute, it means it was on the 1 minute time frame. It means it was on the 1 minute time frame. And if there's, as you can see here, if there's two indicators like this, it means market should have left originally from this first indicator, but it didn't leave from that first indicator. It left and then it came back and tested that indicator, and then it left, right? Decreasing the probability of this whole trend line because of this two decreased the whole probability of this one trend line. And you will see why I say that on Thursday's trade. You see, Thursday's trade was the most perfect, like perfect example of, if you really wanted to risk, I would have like given you full go ahead. Like, this is something you can definitely risk on, because the confirmations on that trend line of Thursday, which we'll get to that. So for now, let me just note down. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that that's why I entered this trade. I entered this trade trying to continue going up, based on this being a MMC footprint line without a first layer, which is also possible. And yeah, that's why I aim to take this thing up. So the reason why I do feel like, the one of the reasons why this thing didn't go in my direction is exactly because of these two indicators right here. It's one of, not saying it's the only reason, it's one of the reasons, and it's the reason that I'm willing to take and learn from, and be like, okay, I should know next time when I see this, I should know it decreases probability, but it doesn't necessarily mean that market is gonna go in the opposite direction. That's what I will say. Also, another reason why I was looking to take this thing up is because of, here there weren't really a bunch of sell indicators. Even there weren't a lot of sell indicators here. Okay, so do you wanna open it? Yes. Let me just take note of Monday's trade so we can move forward. I'm gonna have to take that bowl out of here. That bowl needs to go, because I can hear those rocks moving, which is weird. Okay, Monday. Let's say this. Monday, the 12th of May, 2025. 2025. Remember, our standard position is 0.8 lots of Xauusd micro. Xauusd micro. That's our market, our instrument. Remember, we said MMC. And then in brackets, I'm gonna say first layer line. I mean, this time frame. There's no confirmation right here on the indicator. Remember how we recognize confirmation on an indicator. You look to see, so you look for the red bars. Look for the red bars. You count minimum of 4. It can be more, but minimum of 4. And then the first light red, that's our confirmation, right? So here, we can leave that, and then obviously we're gonna assume it's on the 1 minute time frame. So I just don't want to go to the 1 minute, because I'm gonna have to zoom out, and then it's gonna be a whole lot of story. So I'm just gonna note that this was on the 1 minute time frame. Why does it smell like something's burning? So this was on the 1 minute time frame. And then there's the session. Um, there's a column where I note down the session that I entered in. So this was in the New York session because this was a 4:30 trade, right? Remember, like I said, I started trading specifically XAUSD 3 weeks ago. So I need to. The reason why I don't trade at directly at NYC Open is because of the volatility. So because I trade at 4:30, that's a bit after the volatility, and it just allows you a bit of breathing space, especially if you're gonna have such tight risk, you know. So yeah, the forecast is another thing I take note of. So here it's bullish, right? So we have a bullish forecast. Here it's bullish because, right, this is where we entered and we looked to take this thing up, right? Another thing that I noticed about me, which is probably, maybe this one was just quite short, but often my take profits are really, really large. Okay, so now I need to note down the entry. The entry was 3239. 3239. 3239. That was my entry. And then my stop loss is 3232. That's my stop loss. 3232. Okay, and then my take profit was around here, 3297. 3297. And then was the trade a profit or a loss? In this case it was a loss. Loss, right? And then how much did it move? How much did it move into losses? That's 8 points. 8 points is standard. It only moved 8 points into losses. So SL. And then how many points did it move into profits? As you can see here, it didn't really move that much into profits. This is like what, 3243. So from 3239 to 43, that's like 4 points. That's like 4 points. So that's barely any movement. It just moved 4 points above entry, right? And then what is the reason? Why did this thing become a loss? What was the reason that it became a loss? The reason was, the one of the reasons that we realized here is a weak trend line. This is a weak trend line. Weak trend line. Then in brackets, I'm gonna say, should I put in the brackets? I'm not really certain. Let me just leave it at weak trend line. I'm gonna leave it at weak trend line. However, I will write down in my book of notes that when a trend line does have this type of thing on, it decreases the probability of this thing going up. So okay, that was everything I needed to note down for Monday. We entered here looking to take this thing up, this because of the strength of this and the indicators being there the whole time. But however, the one thing I didn't know at that point was this right here, this double indicator. So because of that, it decreased the probability of this thing going up. So that happened, right? Cool. Okay, wait. One other thing I do want to try. Let's try doing this. I want to see if I had entered this trade here, right? If I had entered on my stop loss, would I have still been stopped out? Remember, my stop loss is always 8 points, so that's like use this. Okay, let me do that. Remember, wait, what's going on? So that should be over there. This should be only 8 points. Nope, it would have been stopped out. It would have been stopped out. But look, by how much though? By how much though? That's crazy, bro. Not even by that much. This is like 3-2-16, 3-2-23. That's like 4 plus 3 is 7, right? That's like a 7 point as stop hunt, because you can definitely tell this thing coming here and going back up, that is definitely a stop hunt, bro. That is definitely a stop hunt. I want to see something. Yeah, that is definitely a stop hunt. Okay, so I just think here, yeah, this was one of the contributing factors, but I think definitely there was something else as to why this thing went down. I don't really like conflicting myself in like trying to force. If I'm going up, I'm trying to force going down. I don't really like contradicting myself in that sense. So once I get either one of these two wrong, if I get the first one wrong, which is this one, right? If I get this one wrong, and then if I enter at my stop loss with the same risk again, and that gets stopped out, then you just leave it. Just leave it. You'll come back tomorrow. Market will always be there tomorrow. But entering more than twice is a big no. Big no. Just know that you've given your soul to this thing, bro. You've given your soul to XAUUSD, bro. Once you start entering more than what you planned to, just know there's something wrong. Just know there's something wrong. Okay, that was Monday's trade. I think I've said everything I need to say about Monday's trade. Wait, let me try. Gonna try opening up chat again. You know, this whole electricity thing, bro. This whole electricity thing. Okay, so this was true. Before, this was true. Before I was telling, let me see if I can just okay, it's gonna be a bit tricky, but I'm gonna try just so you guys can get what I'm trying to tell you. Trying to tell y'all. Right. Okay. So here we have this trend line, right? Here I couldn't get confirmations because on the 5 minute time frame I can't go back that much back in time, right? Which is another disadvantage of trading on my phone that I noticed, right? I couldn't go back here to find if there was a confirmation or not, but here I found these confirmations, right? Cool. So when I found those confirmations, a two is the second strategy that I found. I found that probability increases when you have a first layer like that has a confirmation, that has an AC confirmation, where market has broken the first layer. It comes to this AC confirmation, and then it goes back up, right? It rejects on this on this level of this AC indicator. It rejects here, it comes back up. Then when it comes down again, it rejects again, and then it goes all the way up. So that's why on Tuesday I had that's why on Tuesday I had that's why I had this bullish risk to reward analysis. That's why I had that on Tuesday. However, I have realized now that the probability of a 2 is a lot lower. It's a lot lower. The fact that it'll reject here once and then come back and reject here again. The probability is just a whole lot lower, right? So that's cool. Remember, like I said, we're learning and we're improving every single time. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel this, and I'm gonna take note and say a 2's probability is a whole lot less, right? Cool. Now let's look at Tuesday's analysis. What I had said you guys should focus on Tuesday's stream. On Tuesday's stream. So boom, we were here when market we entered here, right? So we entered there based off what you can clearly tell that this is a MMC, where we have our footprint and we have our first layer, right? And here once again the same thing as what happened on Monday, where I didn't really pay attention to what the previous indicators are telling us. I was more focused on these and this acceleration pattern, because price does tend to create this pattern where when it's going down, when it's accelerating, it does form this pattern. It's kind of like, I think it's like a parabola. It's like a parabola of sorts. It's like a parabola of sorts. It forms that pattern when it's accelerating. So that didn't happen. But look at this. And this is where the whole stop loss thing that I mentioned comes into play. So let's pretend we would have entered on our stop loss. So let's put that there. As you can see, this is that's 8 points. I don't even need to standard. That's already 8 points. So had I entered on my stop loss, had this hit my stop loss and I entered, look at that, I wouldn't have been stopped out. I would have went with the market. Market would have went back right into my direction. So as much as Monday's trade, let's just accept Monday's trade was a loss both ways. The first and the stop loss was a loss. That's fine. So now we are Tuesday. The first one was a loss. Then this one, as you can see, we plan to take it down up until right here. So as you can see, with the stop loss, it didn't come to, with the stop loss entry, it didn't come to a stop loss. It it just went back into direction, and we would have taken advantage of all those points right there. So this is, let me just check the rest to the ratio. Let me just have a look at the ratio. So the ratio on this is why does it not tell me a ratio? Oh wait, did I use the incorrect? I think I used the incorrect what you call it. Yeah, I did use the incorrect thingy. Okay, let's do this, and then let's say risk there. Yeah, this is fine, like this. So 8 points over there. Then let's take this thing down. This was obviously our TP1. So that's a 1-to-6 ratio, right? A 1-to-6 ratio. And remember, we had done how many trades prior? So that's 1, 2, 3. So that's 3. So at this point, we would have broken even and been left with like 200 profit from the previous week. That's not even including the re-entries we would have made. That's not even including the re-entries we would have made, because with re-entries you look for a 3. A 3 is you look for any area where there's general, like a lot of indicators, and then you re-enter after each. Well, I'll show you guys on Friday. We had a 3. I'll show you guys and explain what I mean by that. Just a second. Okay. So yeah, as you guys can see, on Tuesday, the initial way I analyzed this, that didn't work out. But had I entered on the stop loss, that would have 100% worked out. So now, what I am gonna do in my trading plan, in my trading plan, I'm going to make another column specifically. I'm going to make another column specifically to monitor the history of these stop hunts. So I'm going to say in this column, would the trade have been profitable if I entered at my stop loss? Or I'm just going to say stop loss entry and then profit or loss. Yeah, I'm just going to say stop loss entry. So SL entry. Then with the SL entry, I should remember that I just need to mark if the entry was a profit or a loss. If I had entered on my stop loss, would it have been a profit or a loss? Okay, so this is Tuesday, right? So Tuesday, the 13th of May 25. Remember, standard is one position is 0.8 in which market? In the XAU USD micro USD. And then the instrument. What was the instrument here? It was the MMC plus acceleration. No, let's say momentum. Momentum. What's the word I'm looking for? Momentum. Yeah, let me just say momentum. Let's say momentum plus momentum plus momentum. By momentum, I mean this drawing right here, where it forms this kind of like shape. Here's the shape right here. I'm gonna use my drawing tool, my brush. So work out. It's usually very difficult to find that specific pattern. I won't even lie, it's very, very difficult to find that pattern. I will also note that down. So remember to note down, the first thing I need to note down is the presence of confirmation indicators on the trend line to make it weak or strong. The second thing I need to note down is that it's very difficult to identify the momentum, the momentum of the MMC footprint. It's very difficult. I won't even hold you. Okay, fine. So the entry, what did we enter in which time frame? In which time frame did we enter? So you can clearly see this was on the 5-minute time frame, because here's our confirmation right here. So this was 5-minute time frame. 5-minute. I usually like entering on the 5-minute because the 5-minute is not as spontaneous as the 1-minute. So the session, obviously this was New York session because this was 16:30. This was 16:30, and then the forecast was obviously bearish, right? And then our entry, where was our entry? Our entry was at 3245. 3245, that's our entry. What was our stop loss? Stop loss was at 3253. 3253. Yes, there's of course, because plus 8 points, right? Plus 8 points. So our take profit, what was our take profit? Our take profit one was 3208. 3208, that was our first take profit. So how much did this trade move into losses? So that's only 8 points. Remember, that's how much we always risk. We only risk 8 points, right? And then how much did this trade move into profits, right? That's 3241. 3241, that's only 4 points again. So we say it only moved into profits plus 4 points. Okay, was the analysis a profit or loss? Obviously in this case this was a loss, not even gonna lie. Yo guys, like I say to you guys, whenever I'm journaling down these things, whenever I'm using my trading plan, I do this with you guys. Like during the week when I'm actually trading, I tell you guys specifically that this is where I'm entering. This is my risk, this is my reward, and I don't change it. I keep it as that. You can go back and check my time frames. I don't even be lying to you guys and saying I came back and this became an entry. No, a profit. No, we call a loss a loss. Profit is a profit. The only profits that I've been seeing for a very long time is these stop hunt entries. Those are the only profits that I'm seeing, and it's what I'm gonna start to focus my attention on. Not solely, but both ways, because I still need to be able to have the skill of entering at the correct place and not trying to look for stop loss entries. Fine. So was this trade a profit or a loss? It was obviously a loss. What was the reason? The reason was what? Stop hunt. Stop hunt. Because after the stop hunt, it did what? It went into direction. So SL entry, right? SL entry, profit or loss, profit. The stop loss entry. Stop loss entry. Was the stop loss entry a profit or a loss? It was a profit. Okay, so that was for Tuesday. That was for Tuesday. On Wednesday, I didn't really trade, but we can go through this. I'm not gonna note this down. For why am I not gonna note this down in my trading journal? Because I didn't stream this. I did this off stream. Anything that I do off stream won't go into my trading journal because it's just me coming back and telling you guys something like, I did this, but I didn't do it with you guys. So the only thing I'm journaling is anything that's on my streams, and anything I say, this is definitely where I enter, and this is because I don't like back testing, bro. I don't like back testing. The only back testing I do is if I did an analysis like this and I'm doing my trading journals and I'm seeing what went right, what went wrong. But going back in time and trying to confirm a strategy, I don't like it, bro. I don't like it because there's too many factors that you can't emulate, bro. You can't emulate. For example, you already know what's happening here, but when market is actually happening and we're right here, you don't know all of this. So it's very hard to pretend like all of this is not there when you're backtesting. So that's why I personally don't like backtesting. But anyway, Wednesday I wasn't streaming. I was busy with real life things. So after 4:30, I think I came back around 5 or 6 p.m. and then I just had a look if I had actually entered. Let me just have some water. So I just had a look. If I had entered at 4:30, what would have happened, right? And this is exactly what I saw. As you can see, this is a 4:30 confirmation right here. Looking at this thing, I would have entered and taken this thing down. But exactly like I said to you guys, why I don't like backtesting, because as you can see here, I drew these trend lines. And it became easier to have a bit of an idea that, okay, if this thing breaks below, then look for entry and then keep taking the thing down. But I don't think that's why I drew this risk to reward. I think this risk to reward was specifically aimed at this indicator, this 4:30 indicator right here, which I don't really want to put that much emphasis on. I wouldn't put that much emphasis on just entering on a 4:30 indicator. I wouldn't really like. I wouldn't really. What's the word I'm looking for? I wouldn't really encourage that. I think another reason why I might have taken this was because the momentum from here. Because there was momentum from here, there would have been a second impulse of momentum, which is why I probably would have looked for sales there. Let's see if it did go down. In fact, exactly, this was the second surge of momentum. XAUUSD usually does this a lot. Once there's a first surge of momentum, like this one, once there's a first surge of momentum, there's a second surge of momentum. Now, that it's very, very rare, and it's very hard to catch this third. The third surge of momentum is very, very hard to catch. But when you do catch it, you are out of here, bro. You are out of here. You are absolutely out of here, bro. So yeah, that was that. Like I said, I won't take note of that because we didn't live stream that, so I won't really focus on that. Cool. Let's go to Thursday. Let's go to Thursday. Let's see what was happening on Thursday. Let's see what was happening on Thursday. This is the 5 minute time frame, right? Okay. I like what I'm seeing on Thursday. Okay, for this I have to go on the 1 minute time frame, so I can explain it to you guys. I have to go to the 1 minute time frame. No, this is Friday. Okay. Now this is one of my favorite, dude. Thursday was one of my Thursday will in the history of me trading. Thursday will be one of the reasons why I become a successful trader in XAUUSD. Let me show you something. So these two indicators, these two lowest indicators formed what? This is your footprint. No, that's your footprint. And then this is the first layer. Just a disclaimer, I do tend to become a bit dyslexic when it comes to the first layer and the footprint. Sometimes I confuse them, but the point is I grasp what they are and what they necessarily mean, right? So this is the footprint. That's the first layer. Another key thing to identify here. Notice how there's no surge of momentum really. Like you can tell that market, it's building up, but there's no like surge of momentum the same way we had here. The same way we had here. On 5 minute it looks a lot more aggressive, but we didn't have that here, right? We didn't have that here. So when I saw that we didn't have that here, I took note of two things. I took note of the angle of this trend line, this footprint trend line. I was like, this angle is so steep, especially when you look at 5 minute. Let me show you on the 5 minute. This angle is so steep, bro. Like it's so inclined, it's so steep. This increases the probability of market to do what? To move crazy, bro. And I'm not even joking. So when I knew that, and at 14:30 I took note of a couple of things, right? So at 14:30 I took note of a couple of things, which were, am I on the 5 minute? Yeah. Which were that here, you see, unlike on Monday, I'm going to go back and show and emphasize. Let me just go back and emphasize. Remember, this was Wednesday. I didn't trade. And then here, you see how here we have this indicator here. We have this sell indicator here, right? We have this sell indicator, but we also have these sell indicators at the same level, right? So market sold a bit, but it came back and broke. We didn't have that here. We didn't have that. We just had one buy indicator that when it did come back down, but it didn't come back and test this price. It came back down, but it didn't come back and test this price, right? Came here, confirmation, gone. And then we had another confirmation right here that also wasn't tested. So when price was here, and I realized that, okay, damn, market kept giving us confirmations that haven't been tested. Market, take note of what I'm saying. Market kept giving us confirmations that weren't tested. Meaning what? It increases the probability that the next confirmation that it gives us on these trend lines, the next indicator that it gives us on these trend lines is going to be a good indicator that is not tested. I don't know, that's not going to be tested. I don't know if you kind of get what I'm trying to tell you. So we go to 1430, and as you can see on 1430, it's kind of difficult to find an entry, especially if you're gonna like try to enter here off of this one thing. So what I did, went to the 1 minute time frame, go to the 1 minute time frame. Oh wait, hold on. So what I did, I went to the 1 minute time frame. This is Friday. Let's go to Thursday. Yeah, you see this? This is exactly the reason why I took this trade. So, right, remember what I just showed you. I just showed you the potency, the high probability of looking for buyers on this trend line right here, right? And then we had a 3. This is what I call a 3. A 3 is when we have a bunch of indicators that are creating a kind of a zone, right? So these indicators, we had an indicator going down there, we had an indicator going up here, you create a kind of a zone around that, and then you say, if market goes down and gives us an indicator confirmation here that it's going to go down, then you look to take this thing down. And as you can see here, there was no indicator confirmation that told us that this thing is going to go down, right? So what was the next thing that we should look for? We should look for this thing to go up. That's why I looked to take this thing up. So I did that. I entered this off of it was more of a MMC footprint, high probability AC indicator, a 3 as well. A 3 is what I just explained, this zone right here. Then you look for wherever it breaks. If it breaks down, you look for the next sell indicator below these bullish indicators right here, below these bullish indicators. If market breaks up, you look for the next bullish indicator above these sell confirmations right here. So for example, right there, if you didn't enter here, you could have entered right here. You could have 100% entered right here, right? So I hope I'm not going to contradict myself. Hear me clearly. This is exactly why I don't want to focus solely on stop hunt entries, because had I put this risk to reward like this, and I try to enter on my stop hunt, and I try to enter on my stop loss, you see what would have happened? I would have missed this trade. And the special thing about what I'm seeing with this trade in particular, this trade was one of those trades where, had you just gotten this trade, this is how the operandi himself makes so much money. This is how this what I'm about to explain to you guys. This is exactly how he leverages like crazy. I don't know, sometimes he does use the stochastic indicator. I don't know about that. Me personally, I have my mixed feelings about the stochastic, but the AC indicator, in terms of the gold volume, what I'm about to show you guys right now, this is exactly how he makes all those re-entries. Okay, like I said to you guys, if you missed this entry right here, you take which entry? You enter the first bullish confirmation above those sell indicators. So the first one here would be where? Let me just minimize that one, and then let me draw it so you guys can see. The first one would be right here. Why is this thing inverted? The first one would have been right there. Remember our risk, we always use a risk of 8 points. We always use a risk of 8 points, because 8 points translates to 100 rands. If you use 0.0, if you use 0.8 lot size on the XAUUSD micro account, right? So that's the first re-entry. This is the first place where you put like re-entries. Look, notice how it didn't even go into into our stop loss area of risk, right? That's the first place where you put re-entries. Now you keep doing the same thing. You wait for this thing to give you these re-entries. You wait for the market to give you these re-entries. This is the next one. This is how he makes. This is how you get to the money. This is how you get to the money. And notice how I'm only giving you guys attention with this specifically after noticing what? After noticing this high probability trend line, this high probability MMC. You see how here there's not like a bunch of indicators here that are kind of messing up with this thing. Like the only other indicator we have here is this one that's up here, and you can't really consider that's too far. If you had another indicator here, if like here we had an indicator, which we didn't, right? So yeah, that's why this one is a whole lot more high probability, high probability because they don't come back and retest. It's just clean, man. It's just clean, bro. It's just clean. So you keep doing it. So directly after, okay, let me come back again so I can explain this. So directly after market breaks from this 3 zone right here, you look for bullish confirmations and then you enter on them. On each and every single bullish confirmation, right? You enter on them. Now, the only thing that I will admit, like I said, the first problem that I have, that my TPs are too large and sometimes I don't know where to like exit. Those are my two things, right? Those are my, which is more or less the same thing. If your take profit is too large, it clearly means you don't know where to exit, right? But it's not really a problem because based on the way you trade, just leverage a lot and then take what you want and then just freaking dip, you know. So okay, like I said, so from this zone you look for the next bullish indicator, you enter on that one, same thing, and then you do the next thing here. So let's draw this, and then of course our risk is 8 points. Our risk is 8 points. I'm just gonna put those take profits loosely just to emphasize my point. Then you come back again, you do the same thing here, you do the same thing here. You come, you do this, say 8 points. Notice how they are barely, bro, barely going, barely retracing, bro. Okay, we do that. I see another confirmation right next to this one, so I'll take note of that. And like I said, we're studying here, we're learning, bro. We're learning at the same time. So we will try to identify what was the cause of this, right? We will try our best to identify what was the cause of that. So you could have just try to enter same after this, right? Continue next, you do the same thing. Here's another entry. Why is this thing doing this now? Here's another entry. You mark that we have an indicator confirmation right there. Then you put your risk to reward. Okay, why is this thing doing this? Not bad for that. 8 points. Notice how I am not playing around with my risk, bro. I know exactly how much I'm risking. Right? Now I'm going to continue doing this until it fails. Just to learn this thing specific, like properly. This is how you flip money into crazy amounts, bro. This is exactly how you flip money into crazy amounts. Take note of that. 8 points. Um, See, market was, dude. If market had continued here and given and just like went, bro, bro. I'm telling you, had market done that, panaga. Here when I get a G, like I'll telling you, I am freaking telling you, my guy. So you do the same thing here. And here, bro, we don't need none of that being scared to blow, bro. Don't need. Rather know, well, you are holding until you get what you want or you die, bro. And if you die, bro. Whether you cry afterwards or you fucking go, I don't care what you go do. Go kill yourself or do something. But, my nigga, you either hold and get what you want or you fucking quit, bro, or do something. Look at that. It went down there, and then what happened from there? Wait. I want to take note of this thing. Just as Marawena Klamana King Twe. What is this, bro? Klaman. Nawena Klaman. Sorry about that. What do you call this? 8 points. 8 points is around here. 8 points. Then the next one is around here somewhere. Okay, 8 points. Okay, that's more or less 8 points. So I'm gonna come back to these and study what was actually going on there and what should I take note of that's happening there. I do have a feeling that this started to happen. This started to happen because of this, but never mind that. Let's look for our next confirmations. This is on the 1 minute time frame. And then it went back again. And then it started again. It started going up again. Okay, this is not a confirmation. These are all the times you could have. Obviously, with leveraging, bro, there's no way you would have leveraged all these opportunities. But my point is, these are opportunities of re-entering. These are all 100% opportunities of re-entering. So the reason why I'm continuing to do this is because I want to learn exactly where I should get out. I want to learn exactly where I should get out, and if this thing is gonna give us a pattern of sorts that we should know and be aware of. Okay, now let's get out of this thing. And this is where you become, this is where you start learning and start improving yourself, when you go the extra mile to realize. There's something I always say. I say, the minute you start being able to answer why something happened, that's when you become a better trader. You become a better trader every time you're able to say, this is exactly why this happened. Every time you know the answer for, okay, there was a problem here and then this is the answer. That's the minute you become a better trader. That is 100% the minute that you become a better trader. Look at these entries, bro. All from what? All from that one major trend line that looked so proper. That looked so proper, bro. All from that one major trend line. That one major MMC footprint. That looked clean. That looked clean. Okay, those are, I'm just gonna minus those for a second because I wanna continue this thing. Let's get to the chase. Let's get to the point, man. Let's get to the point. My point here is I want to learn where, because this market did go back and reverse. So I want to learn exactly what happened. Why did it reverse, and how would I have known that now it's going to reverse? We are finding the answers ourselves. We are finding the answers ourselves, because according to how Brian trades, I'll show you what he does. He draws another trend line, but sometimes I find that that isn't really 100%. You know, it has its flaws. Sometimes you just enter, sometimes you just exit a whole lot early because of that. Wabo. So all these places where I drew these things are places you could have found re-entries. This is just on the 1 minute time frame. So I think this was the highest point, and then it started going down. And then it started going down. So I'm going to continue drawing these things where they kept failing, just so I can understand what happened and what should I look out for. What happened and what should I look out for? I'm already seeing one reason. I'm already seeing one thing I should look out for when this happens. I'm already seeing one thing I should look out for when this happens. Notice how when these first three hit, when these three consecutively hit. So if this one stop losses, this one also stop losses, and when this one also stop losses, I think that's a good point to leave this trend. But also notice how, literally, that's so perfect. Notice how exactly when this trend line is being broken, the perfect trend line, when that is being broken, that's when this trade should have been left. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Okay, yeah. So two major things that I really would say are high probability things to take from specifically this part of this trend is, number one, how minimal indicators there are here, and how potent these indicators are, right? So there was an indicator here, it really left. There was an indicator here, it really left, and there's no other indicator next to it. There's no other indicator next to it. Then it kept going, and then it formed, at the time, of course, this is what I found, and it formed that this is also potent indicator, it left, there's no other indicator next to it, and then yeah, this is where we entered. And then, so that's the first thing to take note of. The second thing to take note of is the inclination, right? Is the inclination of this trend right here. This is very steep, bro. This is very steep. So it being steep shows what the probability increases of a lot of market momentum. So this was Thursday. So Thursday I did analyze this. I thought I was streaming, and then Streamlabs did me dirty, and my thing was never my charts were never posted on YouTube because of Streamlabs, right? So the only point here where things would have retraced a bit is right here, but even then it didn't hit stop loss. It just kind of went crazy, but it went up again. The only time it started hitting stop loss was here. So subsequently, from entry from there up until there, probably would have been profits. That's why I'm saying it becomes a bit tricky knowing when to leave exactly, because if you were here and now you're thinking that, damn, I need to exit today's trade, I don't. Wait, what happened? Unable to. Please try again. Chat disconnected. Okay, I don't know why my chat is disconnected. Okay, so I won't take note of this because it wasn't. I didn't stream it. Like, I didn't stream it. Did stream it, but According to Streamlabs, I wasn't streaming, so I won't take note of that. So let's come here. This is Friday's trade. Uh, yeah, this is Friday's trade. Like I said about the whole AC indicator, the one most important thing about the AC indicator is what your ability to read what the indicators are telling you. That's the one most important thing about the AC indicator is what your ability to read what the AC indicators are telling you. So when we got here, specifically at this time, the first thing we did, we looked, okay, is there an indicator that we can see right now? I think at the point, because this was not half past, yeah, at half past, let me go back in time. This is the 1 minute time frame. Go back to the 5 minute time frame. I want to see something, because that doesn't look right. Sorry about that. Okay. This is the yes, the 5 minute time frame. This I remember. You see, okay, this is where we entered. We entered based off the confirmation of the 5 minute time frame, which was more or less around there, right? On Fridays, a gap here. That's why we entered that. And then number three, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, number three. I think at the time we hadn't gotten the SAL indicator. Even if we had gotten the SAL indicator on this square that I kind of drew here, which also is kind of like a makeshift square, this was directly on that price where there's a bunch of indicators, so it wasn't really below. If it was below, I would have considered taking this thing down, hence you seeing those other trend, those other risk to rewards, I'm trying to say, right? So because this wasn't really below, it was more like on, that's why I wouldn't consider. That's what I'm also learning, that when you have a lot of buy indicators, right, it has to be below and not on it, right? Cool. So when I noticed that gap, and then I had noticed at that point we didn't have a confirmation that's taking this thing down. We had a confirmation that's taking this thing up. So I entered on that. Oh, another thing. This is actually the real reason why. This is the real reason why I look to take this thing up. Come here. Let me show you something. Notice how on this trend line you have two indicators. You have one indicator that should have went. It did not. It went a bit and then it went up. It got tested, then it went down. So these two indicators right there told me that this trend line is not going to hold. Something is going to happen in this. It decreased the probability of this trend line being strong. Like what? Like what happened exactly on Monday. So when I saw this confirmation right here, I knew that it's either one of two things going to happen. If this thing is going to go down, it has to find support by at least, you see exactly what happened here. It has to at least come back here and then it'll go down. Exactly. And it tried doing that. It went up here and then it tried going down, but it just continued going up. So that's another reason why I held this thing going up. So here, once again, the same thing as what I just did on Thursday. And the reason why I drew this here, I think this confirmation, yes, this confirmation was on the 5 minute, as you can see, and it was more here. So I just drew like the square around it. So here you would have done the same thing. Now from above this price, look for confirmation indicators. So we have a confirmation indicator right there. Enter that confirmation indicator. and then from there take this thing up, and then also from around here. See, so far we haven't found a confirmation indicator, so let's go to 1 minute. If you don't find it on 5 minute, go to 1 minute. There's a confirmation indicator right there, and notice how they barely get tested. This one, I'm gonna draw my risk to reward and see how much it went into. Would be somewhere here. 8 points would be somewhere there. As you can see, that's very far from 8 points. A whole lot of indicators here. So I think I would, like, noticing this, I would really suggest, if you're going to look for these confirmation indicators, use the 5 minute, but you could also use the 1 minute. If you have the funds for it, use the 1 minute. But if you're tired, focus on the 5 minute time frame. You will definitely find a lot of indicator confirmation. Then you'll enter off that. So yeah, man. I'm gonna take note of this. I'm gonna journal this down on my trading journal, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna post all these things on my Reddit. Yeah. I think last week's trading plan as well, I didn't post it on Reddit, so I'm gonna post it today on Reddit. So last week's trading plan and this week's trading plan are gonna be on Reddit, and then you'll be able to see how I'm learning about the whole stop hunt thing. And yeah, man. So in that way, my trading plan is designed so perfectly that you could also just jot down my entries, my risk, my reward, and see exactly what I was seeing, and then try to figure out how I saw it and learn from that. So anyway, man, that's the one thing I will put. Feel like marketers, don't ever, especially with the indicator, don't ever enter. This is gonna ever, never ever enter on feelings, bro. Ever. That's the first thing I've learned. The second thing, if you're gonna enter on something you have practiced and you've seen before. Don't ever enter on something that you've never seen before, because you will see something you've never seen before. You know what I'm saying? That's the second thing I've learned. And then yeah, what else have I learned really? Hey man, the only thing I will say is that I'm grateful for, ever since I started journaling my trades, I've learned so much, bro. I've learned so much trading Xauusd within the 3 weeks that I've ever learned in my career of trading, bro. I don't even want to lie. Anyway, guys,